crazy as heck this week, and I totally forgot it was Wednesday. I was like, oh shoot, it's Wednesday. So this morning I didn't get the deal of the week email out, and had to schedule the live stream, and man, it was hectic. So anyway, sorry for the last minute emails this morning. But Mr. Cole, thanks for coming. Robert, nice to see you here from Texas. Always a pleasure. Today we're going to be looking at some cool stuff, and it's mostly because I have to admit I've been getting a lot of issues requests lately for supporting some issues on iOS 13, and I haven't had a chance to dive into all those yet, and so I figured, why not live stream it and get it all fixed in front of you guys, right? Hopefully, right? Right. I mean, we are going live, so there probably going to be some bumps and bruises along the way. Chris Gunter, thanks for coming. And anyway, so yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to teach you guys, because all these issues are on iOS 13, how we can like look and troubleshoot the things from this doodad here, your iPhone. So now I am going to be diving into the developer inspector. So maybe before I do that, I can kind of give you a quick overview of the dev inspector, and how it applies to the phone versus working on a desktop. It's very, very similar, right? And to be honest, I have no clue what the problems are. The things we're going to be troubleshooting today, I don't know what the solutions are. So we might not find a solution for it today, but I will teach you how to use the dev inspector and how to debug things from your phone. So that's kind of cool. Okay. Before I get started, there was actually someone that was having issues that sent me a project file, and let me just get that really quick. Hold on one second here. They posted it on Weaverspace, I believe. Also, if any of you had issues getting the deal of the week, sorry, I fixed the discount. The discount gets applied on checkout now. So anyway, okay, let me, okay, it was from Kirsten. Kirsten, send me an email. Rats. Maybe send it under a different email. Hold on one second. Oh, Clara sent one, but she doesn't have a project file either. Okay, we're going to try to replicate this. Oh, file. Oh, here we go. File example. Dang it. Okay, guys, if you email in a file, like to me for support, if it's over 1 megabyte, like it just gets stripped. So like learn to use stuff like Dropbox, or I love Droppler. Like it's super easy. Just drag and drop the zip file up to your desktop, up on the taskbar, and it magically just copies the URL to your clipboard. It's like so easy. It's the amazing app. I love Droppler. And there's other apps like Cloud App and other things like that do similar things. But yeah, if you need to send me a file, send me a download link. Zendesk only allows 1 megabyte attachments, and zip files tend to be a lot bigger, especially if you're zipping up your whole project file. So, okay, I guess I'm on my own with replicating this with this. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and let's figure this out. Luckily, I do have a URL of the problem at hand. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me go ahead and do that. By the way, I assume that the video and audio, I normally ask the video and audio, I just kind of jumped right in. Just a couple thumbs up in the chat box that, video and audio is good. Let me know about that so I don't go too far and realize that I messed up. Okay. Here, Andy. Oh, this is the same one, Andy. Andy. Hold on one second. Let me just reply to Andy, see if he can give me a file really quick. Andy, if you're on this live stream, that'd be great. Just send me that file really quick. That way I could save a little bit of time not having to try to replicate that. Okay. This is the site that Andy's done. We could probably replicate it. This looks like a pretty simple page. So apparently, let's see if we have home and we have test 2, and we can click on those and it goes to the various pages, right? But apparently on iPhone, that doesn't work. So, and apparently he believes it's Impact that has that problem. So let's open up here. Let's just go ahead and do this. We're just going to airdrop. Gotta love airdrop to phones. Although sometimes I think it's because this is an older Mac. Like, man, on my laptop, I could just quickly share stuff to my phone really quick. Super useful. But it doesn't look like that's going to work here. Doesn't always work from my desktop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. Anyway, see, this is sandbox.ah123. Oh, there it is. Boom. Okay, so apparently, now here, camera, right? It's over here. So on the phone, if I were to go to this URL and it's not the problem I thought it was, actually. Yeah, I hadn't even had a chance to look at this. Interesting. But if we go here, we make it smaller. So clicking on that doesn't work. Okay, interesting. Okay, so on phone, man, that's gonna be hard to show you. I should have set up my iPhone as like an external camera so I can show you. But if I tap on that, the menu doesn't work, right? So yeah, that's a problem. Wonder what's going on there. So a couple people have talked about Impact having some click issues. So yeah, let's see if we can replicate this problem. Now what we're gonna do is hopefully you guys know what a dev inspector is. Okay, so the dev inspector is built into Safari and every other browser. Okay, I open it just by doing a Command Option I. That is just ingrained into my fingers. You can also right click on a page and do inspect element. Okay, now if neither of those options work for you, chances are in your Safari preferences, you probably don't have the developer tools enabled. So if you go to your developer tools and go to advanced, there it is. Show developed menu in menu bar, right? Okay, so you check that bad boy, and that will show. It'll actually show a whole develop menu, which well, you can see partial of it right now. Right here, let me clean me off. You can see some of it, right? So the develop menu has all kinds of interesting stuff in here. You can enable and disable like advanced features, and to be honest, I don't use many things in here. We are going to dive into this a little bit today, some of these things, because we need that to look at some of the stuff on the iPhone. But the Dev Inspector, I'm not going to do a full review of the Dev Inspector today. I've done videos on it previously. If you'd like a full overview of what it can do, dive in and watch those. But this little inspect element tree here, I use this like all day long, right? So you can kind of inspect your web page. You can click on something over here. You can see all the CSS styles applied to it, right? Like I use this view right here with viewing all the CSS styles like 100 times a day. It seems like 1,000,000 times a day. Because if someone asks me, Joe, how do I make this color green? Like, chances are I don't know the selector off the top of my head or the CSS off the top of my head. Crack open that. This is why I ask you guys for websites, to be published, because I could just go straight to your website and be like, oh yeah, I see that he has this and that on the page. And oh, I see what the problem is because this stack is conflicting with this other stack and it's overriding the styles, right? So then I can see all of that over here, right? So that's what I use this for, like every day, all day long. And if you ever want to get into tweaking your own CSS and learning your own CSS, like this stuff is really, really, really powerful. So like if we wanted to, like, let's say this top bar, right? Here, let's do top bar wrapper, right? Is see here, we can see what the background color is, right? And we can just change that if we want to make it white, right? We can do that, right? Although all the text is white, so that doesn't make any sense. We can make it red here, right? So we can make it red. And look, like all these changes, you can just kind of make these changes on the fly. And if you ever want to, obviously it doesn't permanently change it because if I refresh the page, all my changes that I just made are gone, right? But it allows you to play around with things live in a web browser and change things around and see how things can be affected. And you can also learn what the selector is that you need to actually do, right? So like, for example, this top bar thing, that when I change the color of that, we can see that in this little doodad right here, right? This sidebar, it shows me the actual selector that I would need, right? So I have hashtag blah, 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 dot top bar dash wrapper dot solid, right? And then there's the CSS I need. And I could just copy and paste that and tweak it a little bit, right? Because I know, that's how we learn, right? That's how new people start becoming advanced users, is they learn little tips like this one, and then they copy and paste it and maybe make a little bit of tweaks here and there. And then they get this. Where is it? Here's another plug for this amazing book, right? Okay. HTML and CSS by John Duckett. Amazing book. The bindings on the book are kind of shot a little bit, at least on my version of the book. Some pages are falling out. But best HTML and CSS book I've ever read, or shuffled through, right? It is not your average CSS book. Anyway, I've plugged that book probably 50 times already. So yeah, great stuff. And so yeah, Dev Inspector. Now there's a lot more to the Dev Inspector than just CSS. Okay. There is this networks tab, right? And this kind of shows you all of the, now this page is a pretty simple one. There's not much. I didn't click all, right? So if you click all here, you can see everything that was downloaded on the page. You can see the sizes of the files, right? So chances are someone's saying, Joe, my website is slow. What do you think I do? I go to this network tab and I look at it and I go, yo, dude, you got like 4 or 5 megabyte images on there. You can't do that, right? And I know that because I can see the transfer size right here, right? So really simple stuff. Little side note though, if you can also hit this little refresh button when you're in the Dev Inspector, and so that's useful. And also here you see the timelines, like if something is like really slow, so you could, like if an image is taking forever to load or something, you can kind of see the timeline of the web page load here, right? This one's a pretty quick because it's a simple page, but normally you can actually scroll horizontally here to kind of see the all the timeline, right? And then here in the tab bar, you can filter through the types of document, or you can just go to all, see everything, or you can go to your image and see just the images, right? Super useful there. So yeah, this network tab is very, very, very useful. Another thing that's good to know. This is actually pretty recent in Safari. At least I think it is, because I've wanted it for years, and all of a sudden magically I saw it one day. There's this little button here that says use cached resources. You could turn that on and off, because if I turn that off now and I refresh this page, what you'll notice is this is pretty interesting though, because if you notice all of these images, they don't have a transfer size. Well, the reason is because all those files were served from the cache, so they weren't downloaded from the browser, right? So that's pretty cool, right? So now if we click this little button over here, here, let me zoom in. It's this little doodad, the second guy, okay? And then if I refresh the page, we'll see that all these have file size transfers again. So that means that they weren't loaded from cache; they were actually downloaded. So that's a really, really cool thing. And I think that was new in maybe it wasn't 13 because I think maybe it was new in Safari like 12.1 or something like that. But man, when I accidentally discovered that one day, I was like, where have you been all my life? So yeah, that's really cool. Just spew if you have any questions along the way, just kind of throw them in the chat box. I'm going to try to keep my eye on it and answer some questions as we go. So yeah, make sure that let's see. Okay, debugger. So this is some pretty hardcore stuff. Like I expect I spend time in the debugger. I don't expect you guys to really be spending much time in the debugger. You might see me play with the debugger a little bit today, but it allows me to here I'll kind of show you what the debugger does, right? And it helps me as a developer debug my code, right? And I have to say it took me many years to learn how to use the debugger properly, and it changed my life. Like it was like groundbreaking. It allowed me to develop. I'm a better developer now because I use this debugger. So let's go ahead and look at what is. Let me see what's on this page that I can kind of off the top of my head know I can debug. Oh, we got impact, I guess, right? We got impact on this page. Let's go to the debugger. And what you can do is, like, I know I can, jump into any of these little JavaScript files. This is all for debugging JavaScript, right? So if I go and let's scroll down to the bottom of this JavaScript file. Look like he has maybe target up there as well. No. Okay. Let's just do this. What I can do here is, like, I can set these little what are called breakpoints. What that happens is when the browser hits that, it's going to stop, right? And that's pretty cool. So if I just refresh this page, let's see, let's continue on. Oops, hold on one second. Let me refresh the page again. Okay, so right now what it's done is it's triggered a breakpoint, and what I can do is I can go here, and this is where it stopped, and I can do stuff like, I can analyze this code, and I can kind of see what stack is. I can analyze variables, and it just allows me to debug stuff, right? So I'm not going to go into all the JavaScript debugging stuff. That's pretty hardcore stuff here, but I just want to kind of give you an overview of what that is. Okay, so next up is resources. Now, resources is kind of similar to the network view. You get to see everything that's loaded, but you get to see more details about it, right? So here we have a little tree over on the over here on the side where you see I have fonts, we have images, and I can see all the images that are loaded. I can see all the JavaScript files that are loaded and all the style sheets that are loaded, right? So it's loading a few font calls, the stack CSS stuff, font awesome, the theme file, and whatever this pgn.min is. Okay. Yeah, not sure what that one is, but yeah, that file isn't getting loaded. It's a 404. And we know it's a 404 because it's red. As you see, it's red and it can't load it. But if we open on any of these files, you can get to see the contents of the files. And then over here on the other pane, you can kind of see a little bit more detail about it. So you can say the full URL and a bunch of other like header information and kind of geeky stuff. Images are useful, right? So you can kind of go through the images. You can see what is the image. You over here, you can kind of see the image dimensions and stuff like that. That's useful to help, especially when people email in about, hey, my website's slow, right? I can go, yo, this image is like 1,000 pixels, but it really needs to be like 200 pixels, like stuff like that, right? So that's really useful. So there we go. That's resources. Timeline. You have to say I don't use the timeline tab all that often. It looks really cool, right? Because it shows you the entire timeline and it allows you to debug some stuff. I do use it for debugging every now and then, but you can kind of see like, what's loading on the page, what CPU is being caused, right? Because it has a little CPU graph. You can see where all the network requests are happening. You can see where the layout and rendering happens, and right. So if you notice here at the beginning, we have a couple little layouts and renders, and then all of a sudden, layout rendering, JavaScript events, and CPU all go down during this period, this time frame here, right? And that's because everything's getting downloaded. You see all the network requests, but the CPU load is nothing because it's just downloading all the stuff. Once it's downloaded, the CPU kind of jacks back up because everything's downloaded. It's got to process all that CSS and JavaScript, and then then it finishes rendering the page, right? But if there were ongoing JavaScript processes on the page that like maybe did stuff constantly, maybe like a slider, you would see stuff like continually going in here, right? So, yeah, I don't use the timeline tab very much. It's kind of fun to look at and see. You can analyze when things are happening sometimes, but I don't use it too much. Next up is the storage tab. This is cool. This is where you can see stuff like all your cookies, any local storage and session storage. So local storage and session storage, they're kind of like cookies, but they only live in the browser. So the whole thing, like this whole cookie law, annoying as hell, this cookie law, which is why we have all those god dang annoying pop-ups on every freaking website, right? Our website collects cookies. Okay. God, I hate those. But so why do those exist? Like, what the hell? What is a cookie, right? Basically, they're bits of information. It could have information about you. I mean, these say they could store information about you. They could, it could store information about pretty much anything. Like you can store a cookie on anything you want, like, your behavior and stuff like that, right? But the danger is all cookies that you use in the browser are sent to the server, right? For every single request. So every single request, the cookies are sent along with the request. So the server can maybe customize stuff based on your cookies and stuff like that, right? So cookies are a good thing. But obviously, people are like, oh, we got privacy issues and all that jazz. And so that's why we got all those cookie warnings, is because a few bad people probably collected some information on your browser about you, sent it up to their servers and stored it, right? And so that's why cookies are bad, or considered bad, right? They're bad in the wrong hands, I guess. They could be used for evil if you wanted. But there is now, to save the day, local storage and session storage. And that's what things like my call to action stack and a bunch of my other stacks, instead of using cookies, it still stores data, and it allows you to interact with users and customize users' experience and stuff like that. That's what call to action stack is all about. But it doesn't use cookies, at least not by default. You can set it to use cookies if you want, but it uses local storage and session storage. And that stuff never leaves the browser. It's stuck in the browser, and this is where you can look at all that data. So that's where all that data is stored. It's like a little Excel spreadsheet, kind of, I guess. It's just key value pairs. Okay. Next up, Canvas. Ignore Canvas. I don't think I've ever used Canvas. It's just one of those things I've never played around with Canvas at all. So anyway, yeah. Audit. Actually, I think this is kind of a new one inside Safari. I don't even know what that is. Here, let's do a start. I don't even know what this is going to do. So I start an audit. Level pass fail. I have no clue. I do not know what this tab does. Actually, I've never used it before. I don't even recall seeing it again. Ever seen? Oh, here, demo audit. What does all this stuff do? It says it has errors, but doesn't tell me what they are. So here's some DOM attribute role, special exposed data, accessibility. DOM attribute role is okay. I don't know. I'll look into this. I have no clue what it is right now, though. Okay. Next up is console. And console, if I ever tell you if you send an email, you're like, hey, my page is broken, and I go, are there any errors in the browser console? This is what I'm talking about. Okay. So as you see on this page, there's 2 errors. There's a couple 404 errors that we saw earlier, right? And they're right here. So yeah, there's some 404 errors. And for some reason, these files are 404s, but there's other things. Like if there's JavaScript errors on the page, they'll show up here, right? And, maybe some output logging and all that stuff. Most of my stacks don't output logs to the console any longer because I know how to use the debugger now. So I stopped doing that years ago. But there's still some legacy code out there that has some like little info logging statements and whatnot for ever help me, to help me out. But anyway, and you can do all kinds of, JavaScript in here. So you can actually type in JavaScript into the console. So like, I don't know if you're using Pi or something like that and you want to test your JavaScript functions, you can do that straight in the console. You can just type in, like here, I'm just going to do something simple, like some simple math here, right? So if we just did like, 1 + 3, which is valid JavaScript, it's just a math equation, right? You can do that, or you can say, var test equals hello live stream. You guys can see this, yeah? Yeah, you can see that. All right, so I do var test, and then if I just type in test, I can see hello live stream, right? So you can just type in JavaScript in the console and it just kind of works. And yeah, I use that a lot too. Like if I just want to test something quickly in JavaScript, I just kind of fire up any random web page, open up the console, and start typing away. So anyway, so that's console. Okay, that was a full-on review of the dev console. I wasn't really planning on doing that, but yeah, hope you enjoyed that. That was kind of cool. I guess one actually really important thing here is this little target tool. So this little guy right here, right? This little target doodad in the toolbar. So if you click on that, if you notice it turns blue, then you are now in like target mode. So like you can like hover around the page and you can like hover and see all the various pieces of the page. And you're like, I want to see something. Let's say I had an issue with this home button, right? You can hover over that, click on it. And what it does is it opens that exact thing straight in the Element browser for us. So that's super cool, right? You can do the same thing if you just hover over it normally and right click on something and say inspect element. That then opens that element in the Element browser as well. So super useful there. In the toolbar here, a couple other things. You'll notice if you ever see this here, this is all of the console warnings. So this first one that has a 0 right now, that's like info messages. So probably nothing that's any issues. It's just informational data added to the console. This is obviously a bad thing, right? It's an error. And then this one here, which currently has a 0, that's a warning, right? So chances are if you see warnings on there, it's nothing like it's gonna like break your page. Chances are errors means something is bad. You should have 0 errors, right? You can look at your warnings. They're not going to be the end of the world warnings, but errors are definitely something you want to look at, and you don't want to have any errors in your console. You can see things like the weight of the page, the time it took the page to load, and then how many resources are on that page. So this one has 21 resources. So that's everything, right? It's the actual HTML, all the images, all the CSS, all the JavaScript, right? So it's a pretty small page, 21, 700K. That includes the entire weight of the pages. That's all assets, all images, right? It was 700K, and it took 2.1 seconds to load, right? And if you notice, all these are buttons, right? So you can click on that and it'll take you straight to the timelines. If you click on this one, it'll take you straight to the resources, so on and so forth, right? Okay. And that's just download web archive. Also, if you want over here, you can open the Dev Inspector in a separate window. I like it docked at the bottom. You can also, if you click this other button, you can have it docked on the side. That I use that every now and then, if depending on my screen layout, what other windows I have, right? But that's that. Scott, you're late. You get detention now. Okay. So we've talked about the Dev Inspector on a desktop. How the heck does that work on a mobile device? So I'm glad you asked that. So what you need to do is you need to have Oh shoot, my cable is like, you need to have a lightning cable, right? Or you need to have a USB cable for your phone. Mine is kind of wired down to my desk. I can't take it up for you, but I have one down here on my desk that I'm going to plug my phone into. Actually, let me take it out because I'm going to want to show you guys stuff while it's plugged in. Just give me 1 second to. I had my cables all organized, and now I got to undo it all so I can show you guys. Okay. And oh man, it's all tied up. Redo all this stuff afterwards. 1 second. There we go. Trusty cable. Got my cable. Okay. So what we do is you just plug that bad boy in, right? Boop, like that. Okay. Now what you're going to want to do is, let me see if things are changed inside iOS 13. We're going to go to Safari Preferences. Oh, iTunes open. I thought that wasn't supposed to be oh, that's the thing in Catalina. iTunes doesn't open now. Anyway. Okay. So you go to Safari Preferences, and then it used to be in the Advanced tab or something like that. Let's see. No, I don't want to update. Oh, there's a 13.1.2. Ooh, interesting. I wonder if 13.1.2 fixes any issues. Okay. That's right. No, I don't want. Okay. Can you not search for settings any longer? Oh, my phone is slow today. Heck. I know I have this setting enabled on my phone already, so I wonder if they just have it enabled by default now. Hold on 1 second. Oh, I think it might just be on all the time by default now. Oh, advanced. Here it is. Okay, so it's inside Safari Preferences and Advanced. There is a setting there called Web Inspector. Okay, and you need to have that turned on. Okay, so you need to have again, it's in Settings. Go down to Safari. Go all the way down to the bottom. There's an option called Advanced, and in there's a toggle for Web Inspector. Okay, it's this one right there. Web Inspector. Okay. Cool. So that's done. Okay. So you have to enable that. And once you enable that, you will notice that, hold on 1 second. Let me turn off my video really quick. Okay. You will notice that when you do that, and then you have to open up a web page in your browser on your mobile device. And when you do that, if you go to Safari, you go to the develop menu. Okay. You'll notice here, I have Joe's Mac Pro, which is my local Mac, but you'll also notice that I now have Joe's iPhone. And when you go to Joe's iPhone, you'll notice that there are all my open tabs there. And I'm going to click this one. Okay. So I click that one. And what opens is a Dev Inspector on my Mac that's attached to the website that's on my phone. That's pretty cool, right? So I have the website on my phone, okay? And this is the web inspector for it. And it behaves, it behaves exactly like the Dev Inspector. It has all the same features as the Dev Inspector that I just showed you right now on the desktop website, right? And what's kind of cool is it even has, like, if I click on this little target thing, right? And then I just find the element that I want to target. I just tap on it on my phone with my finger, and voila, it takes me there. Ooh, nice, right? Pretty cool. And as I move up and down, as you see, as I select items inside the Dev Inspector, you'll see that it also selects the corresponding element on my phone. So we have the same exact functionality that we had on the desktop, but on the phone. And you can see that live, right? I'm moving my mouse up and down, and it's selecting all the various components that I'm selecting inside the inspector here. And it's selecting those items on my phone. As you can see, the colors change. Pretty cool. Okay. So we had a problem where I tap on this menu, okay, and nothing was happening, right? Absolutely nothing was happening. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of I'm looking at my phone, and I'm going down and clicking on each of these things. And what I'm looking for right now is, chances are when something isn't tappable, a lot of times that means something is covering it sometimes, right? So my initial thought was that maybe Impact was covering top bar on mobile for some reason. But I'm not seeing that, right? So like right here, I selected, or let me so this particular doodad right there, that is Impact. And you'll notice it's not covering top bar, right? And if I go down, there's the actual piece of code that contains top bar, and it seems to be okay. If we go down the page, right, I don't see anything that's really covering it. So unfortunately, that isn't the problem. So bear with me here while I try to debug this live a little bit. As I said, I don't know exactly what the problem is here. I just figured we're going to look at it live. Okay. This is the menu right here. This right here is the menu icon, which should be tappable, right? Hold on, I got to turn off this little zoom window because it makes it hard to work. So what I'm doing here is, if you select an element, what you can do is over in the dev inspector over here on the left, you can force particular styles. Like you can say, pretend I'm hovering over this element, right? So and why that's useful is I can see if there are any hover styles applied to that element. And because another thing that's kind of interesting about touch devices is how because it doesn't have a pointer, it doesn't have a mouse. So technically there are no hover events, right? So sometimes what I thought could be going on here was it was detecting the first tap as a hover event, and then displaying the hover styles. And then sometimes you'd have to tap again to then get the click event. So I was seeing if there were any styles applied to here on hover, and I don't think there are actually. Oh, there are a few here. A hover. Okay. And what I did here is in the inspector, I just turned those off, right? So I turned those hover events off just to be sure. And yeah, still getting that same behavior here. Any hover events on the span? No. I guess what we could do is, so I'm going to dive in the debugger right now, and what I can do is I'm going to find the event on when this gets clicked, right? So let Yeah. Actually, another thing I want to look at is I notice he has a few items here in top bar, like he has sticky set. I'm going to turn that off just by um, removing the class from top bar. See if that makes a difference. No, it doesn't. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at this. I'm gonna go to into the debugger. I told you, guys, I might be in there. So we're gonna look at this is in the foundation code, and unfortunately, this is all minimized, so it's gonna be really tough to look at here. And it's right there. This is the bit of code that actually I believe is what's attempting to toggle top bar, right? So I put a breakpoint in there, and what should happen is if I tap on this, it should, nope, it's not triggering it at all. So it's like it's not even getting that event. So odd. I wonder if hold on. I think I saw Andy typing in the chat box that let's see. Nope, I didn't get a reply from Andy yet. Oh well. I don't have the file. I'm gonna try to replicate this so that I can kind of play with the settings. So we're gonna launch RapReaver really quick. Should be pretty simple to do. Okay. We just have a default page. We're gonna have an impact. Right. Impact up there. Let's just toss an image in here really quick. Good old Quokka. And then we're gonna add a top bar below the impact, and then we're just gonna have a below the text below top bar. And just put a bunch of text. Okay. Just for kicks, let's preview that. I don't want we don't want it to be hero header. Just do like proportional. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then it should go to a mobile menu. Yes, it does. Okay. I'm going to publish this page really quick. And let's publish it up to my server. Publish. Okay, there's my page. Let's go to it on the phone. It's just, if anyone else wants to follow, it's just sandbox.joeorgwin.net. I'm going to open up a new tab because I don't want to lose that one. And yep, there we go. Easy replicatable. You can replicate it. Doesn't work. The mobile menu. What I'm going to do is, just for kicks, I am going to, I'm going to do show for always show full menu at always. So I'm going to do full menu always. And I want to know if if I do full menu on mobile, will it work? So I made top bar again. I just made top bar, so it's going to be the full menu, no matter if it's desktop or mobile. So on mobile, oh, it's big, but here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of these from the navigation just so that there's less pages. Okay. Publish. There we go. I got home and gentleman there now on mobile, right? Okay. Actually, I'll probably do this just go to the top bar settings. There. I'm going to hide the title area just so that I can guarantee that we have as much space as possible on that menu. Okay. So now I have the full menu. And yeah, those links straight up do not work. What? That is nuts balls. Okay. So, and the theory is if I remove impact from the page and publish it, it'll work. That's the theory. And it works. That is nuts balls. Completely nuts. That is absolutely crazy balls. Wow. So even normal links aren't working. That is crazy. I did not expect that. It makes zero sense why Impact would be doing that. Okay. Here, I'm going to open up the Dev Inspector on my phone again. This time I'm going to open up. This is the Dev Inspector to the page I just published. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the node that has impact. That's impact right there, right? Okay, that's impact. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that and then see if gentleman works now. So if I purely just delete that the code, it works. Great. Or if I delete the HTML, that it works. So let's do a little bit more troubleshooting here. Okay. So there's the impact wrapper. Nope. What I'm trying to do is now I'm just kind of like just testing various things, just kind of some trial and error in here, just looking at some settings that I think might cause issues. And nope, not that one. I'm just kind of turning off various styles and then, tapping the button to see if with that style turned off, is it going to be, let's delete the preloader. That, nope, still got issues. Foreground content. Ooh, interesting. Let's delete the foreground content. Nope, wasn't that. The navigation is display none, but nope, not that yet. As you see, I'm just kind of going through and deleting stuff. I delete that. Oh, okay. So I deleted the slide and it worked. Okay. Here. Slides control. There it is. Okay, so when I deleted this bad boy, it worked. So I'm going to go ahead and just start playing around with various things. Nope. Margin 0. The index. Nope. I wonder if I... Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm going to refresh the page real quick. That. Nope. Nope. What if I delete the image? Does it still work? Oh. Okay. Interesting. I deleted the image and it worked. Okay. We're kind of getting there. As you see, this is probably a little bit boring, but this is what I do all day, every day. Well, not all day, but yeah. This is how I help you guys out. Okay. So anyway, we're kind of reaching the end here. Are there any questions? So, I don't want to, bore you guys by continuing just tapping on stuff and deleting stuff, but, I'll continue working on this a little bit after this live stream, and hopefully I'll figure out the issue and ship a bug fix. But, yeah, are there any questions? We went pretty a lot further into the dev inspector than I thought we were going to today. Yeah, so hopefully you guys liked that. Again, I'm just going to kind of, if you guys want to, bug out, feel free. Maybe I'll just continue, debugging here for those that really want to, see the end. If there is an end. But yeah, I'll go for a few more minutes, and I'll keep live streaming. I got to work on this anyway. You guys might as well eavesdrop on it. Yeah, if not, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. If you want to head out, remember, conference is coming up 2 weeks from now, right? A little over 2 weeks from now. Yeah, check it out. I sent out an email over the weekend, right? Really cool. I'm really excited about it. I do have another email coming out this weekend. So yeah, we have a little over 1 more week of the current pricing, and then the price goes up. So you better, jump on that. Okay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and continue debugging this. So this image, for some reason, when I deleted it, it worked, right? And I'm going to turn off all of these styles here. Okay. So I turned off all the styles for this image, and still having issues. Okay. Go to here. I'm going to turn off all the styles for this bad boy. Oops. This crazy sauce. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, interesting. If I hard tap on a link, it like shows me a preview of the page, right? And that's if I long press the link. But if I just quickly tap on it, it doesn't do jack. I wonder if that's the same as the default page. So I'm going to refresh. Yep. So if I long press on it, I can say open a new tab and it works. What? Now, let me just show you that. Sorry. So, you know, in iOS 13, they kind of changed. So it's hard to do this backwards. If I long press on that, it opens up the tab, as you see. And then I could say, open a new tab, and voila, it works, right? Obviously, that's not a solution. But it only does it if impact is there, which makes no sense because impact's not doing anything. I removed it. Without impact there, it just works like quick style. It's crazy. Okay, I am going to test. I'm going to test a different slider up there just for fun. She's moving box. All right, so that works, but let's go ahead and publish. Refresh. No problems when you have moving box on the page. Works like a charm. Crapola. Okay. Another thing to try. All right, so moving box worked. I put impact back. I'm going to put something between top bar and impact, right? So I'm going to put something between them so that we have some separation, right? To see if is it an overlap that I'm just not seeing? Is it is like impact disabling links on the page? What the heck is going on here? So let's go ahead. I guess another thing we could test is like I could add a button to the page and see if that button works. Okay. So yeah, I added that bad boy. So now I added, right, there's a paragraph in between impact and the menu. Refresh my page. All right, so refresh my page. Okay. And we got the paragraph, right? If I scroll down a little bit, if I click on gentlemen, does it work? Doesn't work. What? That is nuts balls. Like, this is just insanity. Unbelievable. By the way, nuts balls is the word of the day, I guess. Okay. It's a highly technical term too. Okay, let's test a button and some other menus. I'm just gonna chuck inline nav on top, and we're gonna chuck a button below top bar as well. And the button we're gonna link to a page. Let's link it to this page. Boom. Just preview that, see what that looks like. All right, so I got a couple links up here. I got a button. Let's see if any of that works. And refresh my page. Man, I'm getting really hungry too. Okay. Look, the top one doesn't work. The button works. Okay, the button works. But the inline nav doesn't work. And top bar still doesn't work. So these are. So what's the difference between this button and these menus? Well, in the code, this link, the two menus are lists, right? They're link lists, right? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna jump into. Let's go to this foundation docs. Let's look at where's navigation. Just do like side nav or something like that. Okay. There it is. I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to take HTML. I'm going to plop it down there. There. Oh, I need href. Home. What's the, let me see what the page is to this gentleman page. What's the URL? It's gentleman / gentleman. So we're going to go /gentleman. All right. So that's straight HTML on the page, or we'll even remove top bar. That's just straight HTML on the page, right? Like no crazy extra styles from the stack or anything. Let's see if that works. Oops. Sandbox. Refresh the page. All right, so it's there. I got my button. Let's look on the phone. It's busted. Interesting. And that is just a straight up menu. Okay. I'm going to do something even crazier. So I'm going to take foundation completely out of the equation. I'm going to remove this side nav class. Now this is just a generic link list. Like it's just straight up There's a list of links. No styling added to them at all. Okay. And it doesn't work. So I have, oops, whoa, almost dropped my phone. All right, so on my phone, you notice I just have these two links, right, that go to the pages. It straight up does not work at all. Okay, so what does that tell me? Okay, that's interesting. So chances are, let's look at the code here. Okay, so if we look at the code for Impact, what you might notice is, Impact has ULLI, right? So it uses an HTML list to list out all of its various slides. Right now, it only has one slide, so there's only one list element. My thinking is, since this is just a raw list, that's something that's in common with Impact. The button works, right? There, let me test the button actually on the new page. Button works 100%. The button still works, but link lists do not. So the list with a link is something in common. And in JavaScript, you can actually, if something is clicked, you can disable that click. So what I'm thinking is, inside Impact somewhere, it's disabling the click. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on the right developer branch. Hold on one second. I am not on the right branch. And what's crazy is this has to be something that's generic to iOS 13 as well. So there's probably some sort of esoteric syntax in my JavaScript that that iOS 13 is causing Impact to disable links. Okay. What are you guys seeing here? Yeah, you're seeing some code, right? But so I'm searching for anything that, like, in JavaScript, you can trigger, events based on a click. And then you can, you can prevent the default, right? So that's what this kind of thing is doing. Off the top of my head, I don't recall exactly what this is doing it on. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the debugger, and I'm gonna look for. Let's see if there's any others. Events. Click. All right, we're gonna go with the debugger, and I need the debugger from. I think it's this one. Is it? Yeah, it's this one. Okay, so we're gonna go to the debugger in here, and we're gonna go to here, and I'm gonna search for. I'm gonna put a dropper there. And the first two were the ones I wanted to find. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So in the debugger, I put in little breakpoints for this. So in theory, if I click on those navigations or those links, it should trigger this breakpoint if this code is capturing that, right? And it's not. What's going on? What touch? Okay. What I'm going to do is that. So I'm going to do a break on. Shoot. This is touch end. Oh, that's reveal. What is this? This is impact. If iOS 13 was blocking the JavaScript, would it not show that in the debugger? Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying here earlier is I put in breakpoints for impact where it's triggering the click events, but it's not hitting those breakpoints. So it's not that code that's doing it. Like there's some code, there has to be some code that's disabling these links. Actually, let me wonder if there's a pointer events style being applied. No. What's crazy is if I delete this impact from the page, those links become tappable. Man, that's just crazy sauce. So Scott had an idea. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a straight up link, or I'm going to put it in paragraph tags. Paste that in. Right. So now I have a link list and a paragraph link. Right. All right. I'm going to publish this again. It's the same exact link. It's just one's inside of a list, one's inside of a paragraph. And refresh. Oh, my debugger is. Hold on one second. Oh, there it goes. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's not working. Interesting. So the paragraph link doesn't work either. Okay. Good call, Scott. So the link thing, the list thing wasn't a part of it. Refreshing the page. Click on gentlemen, the paragraph. Yep, it does not work. What? Okay. Let's play around a little bit more because this button works, right? So if I put in a class of button inside this HTML, right? I just created a button. Let's publish that. I mean, that's just a link with a class of button, which is basically what this one, what the stack is, right? But doesn't work. Okay. Okay, so that doesn't work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this inside of a one column and publish it. Let's refresh. Wow, this gentleman button doesn't work, but this button works. What is the difference there? Now that's nuts. I was like, those are pretty much the same. What are the differences? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this HTML for this button, and I'm going to put it directly below this button. That is the same. All right, so now we got two buttons. This button should be the same as this button down here. All right, I'm going to publish that. Oh, Robert, sorry I missed your message saying that they worked for a second. Oh, and Chris says he's running the latest iOS and it's still not working. Thanks, Chris, if you're still here. Okay, so let's see. Refreshing. Okay, so I got the two buttons. Let's look on my phone. Okay, this button works. This button still does not work. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Wow, that is nuts. Okay, but we're getting close, right? Because I have a button that works. Okay, so let's take some of these. I guess I can take this one out of the paragraph. Or let's do that. That's out of a paragraph now. Publish. Can't see how that would be a problem, but now I got button and gentleman. Remember that this second one's the one that says button text works. The one that says gentleman does not. Gentleman button does not work. The normal button works. Okay. Well, let's just, all right, we're getting there. Okay, process of elimination. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make these two buttons try to look as similar as possible. Okay. So this first button doesn't have a roll of button set. I can't see how that's just an accessibility option, but all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that. All right, we're gonna publish again. Wow. Adding the roll of button worked. Wait, did I remove the roll from the second one? Oh, interesting. Okay. So having this roll in there fixes it. Because when I removed it from the bottom when it broke it. So now if I put in roll button on both, publish, these buttons will work. Maybe. The gentleman button works. And the button text. Wow. Okay. Okay, that doesn't fully answer my question. All right, because okay, so what does that roll of button do for us in iOS 13? Does it apply any styles? So when we have a roll of button, oh wait, hold on, this I need to refresh. Now again, our menus aren't buttons, right? So, okay, let's see. When we have a roll of button, what does that do? Other than accessibility, there is no styles. Yeah, gentleman works for me as well. What does the roll do? It applies no styles. Obviously, this is for a button. I mean, okay. Let's just for fun. I'm gonna add roll of button to these links up here just for fun. Oh, I won't add to the home, just to the bottom one. How about that? Okay. So this gentleman link now has a roll set to button. Why would that make any difference? I don't know. And it works. What? An impact. It has. There's no code targeting anything that's not a roll. Let's see what this ARIA rule does. Button roll. Adding button roll will make an element appear as a button control to the screen reader. See, that's just for screen reader stuff. Let's see. This is from 2016, though. Jesus Christ. This guy just told this dude, because he couldn't click the links, to turn off JavaScript in Safari. Oh my God. Experience the same behavior. Try resetting Safari. Close Safari completely. Clear history and website data. Then do a forced restart. Hold down the home button. Jesus. I don't think it's a phone problem because, I mean, obviously if I delete certain things from the page, it works. These people are just saying, Apple, please fix. There's no solutions here. Actually, here's something actually interesting. I want to go to I'm gonna open up Chrome on my phone. Where is it? There it is. Although that still uses WebKit, right? Oh, it's worth a shot. I forget what state was it in. What wasn't clickable? Hold on a minute. I'm trying to republish this without this roll. How do you reload a page in Chrome? Oh, just pull a refresh. Got it. Same thing happens in Chrome. I kind of expected that because Chrome actually uses the same WebKit engine as Safari does on the phone. Try Firefox. I think Firefox does the same thing too. Start browsing. Same thing. Yep. Oh, in Firefox, actually, like none of the buttons work on the page at all. At least in Chrome, all the buttons work. Just that gentleman link doesn't. Hmm. Okay. Well, if you happen to know Tom Mackinger or whatever it is on the Apple forums, he's still a level 1 with only 9 points. And yeah, tell him he's an idiot because telling someone to turn off JavaScript in their Safari browser, that's just stupid. Okay. Okay. We have kind of a semi workaround, but it's not a solution, right? And I am getting crazy hungry right now. I need to go get some food. So I am going to end this today. Unfortunately, I didn't solve the problem, but hopefully you guys kind of learned a little bit, right? We went through all the dev tools. You kind of saw maybe how I do some troubleshooting, right? It's just like doing little changes here and there, change, test. Crazy simple pages, right? You notice the page that we did, it was an impact and a top bar and some text. Like that was it, right? The least amount of stuff on the page that we needed to test the problem, have it on there. Because sometimes, someone's like, this isn't working. And I'm like, can you send me a simplified version so that I can test it out? And like, just send me something that has like 50 million stacks on the page. It's like 20 levels deep with stacks, and it's just nuts, like really crazy stuff. So simplify and test. As you see, hopefully you learned a little bit. I did dive in a little bit of HTML, did a lot of the little stuff today. So hopefully you learned that, learned a little bit, and I didn't bore you too much. So anyway, take care, guys. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday. Some of you join the Hangouts. Man, I'm killing it in Foundation 6 this week. Like, that is gold. Absolute gold. It is going to be red hot. And if you want to get your hands on Foundation 6, join the conference. People who join the conference this year will get first dibs at it. I don't know for how long until it gets released to the public, basically. So there will be early access for conference members for Foundation 6. And it is going to rock the RapidWeaver world again, just like the original version did. It is seriously that much better. I've done some stuff this week that even my beta testers haven't seen yet. That is just gonna blow your mind. It's wicked cool. I can't wait to get it in people's hands, and I will get it in people's hands in 2 weeks. So join me at the conference, Weavers Space Summit. Go to summit.weavers.space. Hit me up there. Get your tickets while they're still on sale. They're on sale for another week, and then they go up in price. So make sure you get them soon. Cool, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you enjoy, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye.